Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson was in Fort Smith today. He held his first ever meeting to discuss his newly appointed Law Enforcement Improvement Task Force. That group has been appointed to address policing standards, operations, training, and misconduct. 5 News reporter Veronica Ortega is in Fort Smith now with that story.
The first official meeting of the task force happened inside the U.S. Marshals Museum. Governor Asa Hutchinson asking everyone inside to listen to each other. After the death of George Floyd at the hands of police in Minneapolis, protests locally and around the world sparked action and called for change.
We were outraged and we thought that enough was enough and that we weren't going to stay silent anymore.
Law enforcement leaders from all across the state and community activists came together to learn and share their stories.
We need to start being smarter about the way we do our job, and we also need to start being more human about the way that we do our job.
Hutchinson pointing to a police officer's job to not only enforce laws, but to keep the peace.
I hope that other chiefs are communicating and talking with each other and sharing what's worked, what's working in their community, what's not working, and let's take some of those ideas and start incorporating them across the board.
Some of the biggest themes that were brought up: the need for accountability and training.
You have a police officer who oftentimes you got 13 weeks approximately of training, and that's just simply not enough when you're talking about the ability to go out into the community and, if necessary, use deadly force.
Overall, those on both sides had one thing in common: hope.
This is the first chance of actual reconciliation, I think, between communities, particularly communities of color and law enforcement, and it could potentially be a really great thing.
This was just the first of many meetings expected in the next coming weeks. A report from the task force is expected to be presented to the governor before the end of the year. In Fort Smith, covering news where you live, Veronica Ortega, 5 News.
Governor highlighted the executive order recently signed by the president on policing and reiterated the goal of the task force is not to defund any police departments.